Okay, we are live. Let's see, make sure my mic is should be going good. You getting any audio? Check one, check two. Check one, check two. Okay, good. All right, looks like the audio is good. Okay, so continuing, we are going over the law, and we are on Deuteronomy 15. Now I'm trying to make this presentation not so dry. So every every time I do these, I'm hopefully getting a little bit better, trying to add a little bit something more to make it more interesting because I don't just want it to be like a straight reading of the law. I'm trying to make it better each and every time to make the experience better for anyone who watches these videos. So to anybody watching these videos, uh, I pray that the law of Yahweh reach your heart and bless you, um, and that it would be a benefit to you in the name of Yahweh, for the glory of Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shua. Okay, so let's do the lesson here, or rather, let's read the law. Okay, so Deuteronomy 15. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release. And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. Okay, so this is a release of any obligation to pay back a loan. Okay, so say somebody, one of the tribes, say like an Issacharite, who doesn't have uh, those things which he needs, and it could be anything. It could be he needed a car, so he asked maybe his neighbor or his brother, another Issacharite, most likely, for a down payment for a car so he could get to work or something of that nature. Okay. And say he was started paying it back, but the year of release came up, and the year of release basically says that when this year of release does come up, that debt is no longer needs to be paid because it is forgiven. Now, there is something akin to this. Uh, let me start over here. Okay, yeah, so it's a debt cancellation. Okay, I should have had it there. Okay, so there's a debt cancellation and erasure of debt. Um, and that happens every 7 years. And there is something akin to this in the law as it is right now. So, say if somebody has a bunch of debt piling up, they're unable to pay it. But in this case, once they apply for a bankruptcy status, like, then that bankruptcy stays on their credit report for 7 years, and then after the 7 years is up, that that bad mark, that bankruptcy mark on their credit report is erased and it's gone. Okay, because so there is something akin to this law in the world, but it's much different than what is in the law from Yahweh. Okay, and it says, of a foreigner thou may exact it again. Okay, so it's saying that if you lend money unto a foreigner, um, you don't have to abide by the year of release in regards to lending the foreigner, somebody who is not of the children of Israel. You do not have to abide by the year of release for a loan regarding a foreigner, but for an Israelite brother, you do, because this is the law, and the law has to be obeyed if you want it to go well with you, right? Or you could disobey it and be cursed. But we don't want that, right? And that's why That's why you're watching this video, right? Just because you're interested in the law and you want to be blessed by the law. Okay. So it says, of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again, but that which is thine with thine brother, thine hand shall release, right? Okay. So if you do have this contract with your brother, or you do have this loan agreement with your brother, and the year of lease comes up, then okay, year of release comes up, you have to release it. That's the law. Okay. And it says, except, save, when there shall be no poor among you. All right. So if there was a loan that happened and there is no poor among you, even when the year of release comes up, then it's all right because nobody's poor, right? They're not depending on this money. If they have to pay this money, it's not going to break this person because they're not poor. Okay. And in that case, then that loan still has to be repaid. Okay. It says, save when there shall be no poor among you, for the Lord shall greatly bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it. Okay, great. So, but you got to remember too that even when you lend out money to another Israelite brother, you're not supposed to charge uh, what's called usury in the Bible. And usury in the Bible, it's a little bit different than how they use the term usury here uh, in the United States. So if we go here and here's the precept from Deuteronomy 23:19, thou shalt not lend usury to thy brother, usury of money, usury of victuals, victuals is food, usury of anything that is lent upon usury. Okay, so if we look up this word usury here, it says to bite. It says to pay, give interest, lend for interest or usury. It says to give interest here. So this is just saying that it's interest, right? So it says interest. It also says usury. Um, but we can determine here that you're not supposed to charge interest when you make a loan out to an Israelite brother, right? Or Israelite sister, Israelite, period. You're not supposed to charge interest. Okay. And you could see here that the Bible says that uh, the law of Yahweh says that interest um, charged to your brother is illegal according to the law of God. But you can charge interest to a foreigner, right? You can charge interest to a stranger, as they call it in the Bible, right? Okay, let's see here. It says here, going on to the next line, it says, unto us in Deuteronomy 23:20, unto a stranger, speaking of usury, thou mayest lend upon usury, but unto thy brother thou shalt not lend upon usury, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all that thou settest thine hand to do in the land whither thou goest to possess it. So you could see here that although it is illegal to charge interest on a loan of anything, to an Israelite, it's legal to charge interest on anything to a non Israelite. So let's break this down in simple terms. So, say if you have like, it could be anything, doesn't have to be money, it could be uh, like food. So, say you have like your neighbor says, oh man, I'm hungry. I don't have anything to eat right now. I get paid in about a week. And then you say, okay, well, I do have a pound of hamburger that I can give to you. But when you get paid, I'm going to need 2 pounds of hamburger back. That's usury. So it doesn't have to be money, it could be anything, right? But that's just an example of usury upon victuals, as the Bible calls it. So anything like that is not permitted by law to happen under the law of Yahweh. Okay. It's okay to do that to a foreigner. To a stranger, it's permitted, I will say. But to an Israelite, it's not permitted, according to the law. All right, so moving on. Uh, let's see here. Oh, okay. And then so speaking of the year of release, and then here's an example too of in Wikipedia regarding usury, because even this world, the world that we live in now, this worldly world, right? Babylon, they know that usury can get out of hand and it becomes a snare and a trap for those people who need money, right? Who are struggling to survive, who getting these payday loans or what they call a cash advance, quote unquote. So here's a little citation from Wikipedia. It says banning in Georgia. Georgia law prohibited payday lending for more than 100 years, but the state was not successful in shutting the industry down until 2004. Legislation made payday lending a felony, allowed for racketeering charges, and permitted potentially costly class action lawsuits. In 2013, this law was used to sue Western Sky, a tribal internet payday lender. Okay, so you can see here that even in this dark world that we live in Babylon, they recognize, right, as evil as this place can be, that excessive charge on interest for a loan uh, is illegal and should be illegal, and these things are made illegal state by state. So you can see the different states here have different laws on usury. For instance, Hawaii, the legal rate of interest is 10%. The usury limit for consumer transaction is 12%. Okay. Illinois, the legal rate of interest is 5%. The general usury limit is 9. The judgment rate is 9. So you can see all these different states have their different laws on where they regard usury, which in the world means a high interest rate, where that legal limit should be. They established that. Whereas in the law of Yahweh, right, uh, any interest at all between two Israelites conducting business in a loan of anything is illegal. That practice is illegal. Okay. So just a little bit of difference here on the term usury and how it's used in the world and concerning the law of Yahweh. Okay, and let's go back. Let's see here. Okay, save for when there shall be no poor among you, for the Lord shall greatly bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it. Only if thou carefully hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all these commandments which I command thee this day. For the Lord thy God blesseth thee, as he promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. Thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. Now, how important do you think following these laws, statutes, and commandments are? You listen to this, the word of Yahweh right here. He says, only if thou carefully hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God to observe to do all these commandments which I command thee this day. So he's saying, pay attention. This is what's going to happen if you observe to do all the commandments. So what you got to do? You got to keep your mind on the commandments. You got to keep your heart with God. You got to follow after him. You got to think upon these laws. You got to talk about the righteous ways of Yahweh, because his ways are righteousness. You got to think about his laws, and think about the examples that he's given you through the prophets, through the our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and people like Joseph and Moses, you know all these people, and think about the things that they went through in their perspective and their how they were blessed, right? You think about these things, and it says, okay, you got to be careful to do all the commandments like they did. Okay, if there be, and then it says, for the Lord thy God blesseth thee, as he has promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations. Mean you're going to be the one with the money, right? And the other nations are going to be coming to you. You're not going to be going to a bank to say, hey, I wanted to start up my business, sir. Can I please have a loan because I need some help in this world so then I could get, I could pull myself up by my own bootstraps and blah, 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 right? So I can get a foothold, and try to carve something out of this rock that I'm on, right? You won't be doing that. You're going to be the one with the money and they're going to come to you and saying, hey, man, I need something. Can you help me out? Because, I need some assistance so that I could be able to have something in this world. So I can be able to have something for my children, to have a place to stay, food to eat, clothes on my back, to be able to survive and hopefully thrive. Okay. They're going to be coming to you. If what? If you carefully hearken unto these commandments. And that's why we're going over the law, because the law is important. Okay, that's the importance of the law, is not only your survival, but your ability to have that life in abundance that Yahweh Shua speaks of. Okay? It says, for the Lord thy God blesseth thee as he promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow, right? Because you got the money. You don't need any more because Yahweh has blessed you that much. And thou shalt reign over many nations, right? Reign over nations. Whoa. Nations. Imagine that. Okay, the word nations here is goyim, right? So that means or goy, which means people, right? A nation, a people, right? So you're going to rule over many people, many nations, okay? People of different nationalities, right? They're going to be the ones coming to you for this loan. Okay, they're going to be coming to you for this help if you what? If you obey the commandments. How important are how important do you think these commandments are? Okay? You may be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, hold on. I can't even reign over my own checkbook right now. What you talking about? Reign over all these nations. Okay. All right. But that's why we need to, you see, because we're the tail right now. We need to become the head. That's the importance of following the commandments. Okay, is that God wants to put you in this place, and the only thing is stopping you from being in this place is you, right? As an individual, you have to make that conscious choice of whether or not you're going to follow the law. But here are the benefits, and this is the reason why I'm making these videos, because the law is good, right? The law is good if you choose to do it. Okay, says, but thou shalt not borrow, and thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. And that's a heavy line there. Okay. If there be any poor, if there be among you a poor man, or one of thy brethren within thy gates in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother. All right, so look, if there's somebody in your town, the area that you live in, right? That it says here that Yahweh has given you for your own land, right? You're on the area of your inheritance. Thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy brother, but thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him. Thou shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need and that which he wanteth. Okay, so yeah, you're supposed to open your hand wide. What does that mean? Just give him like a couple bucks? No, that means to help him out in the way that in the way that he needs help. Okay, sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth. Now, wanteth doesn't mean like in that which he desires. Like he ain't gonna be like, oh man, I need that new PS5. I got to get that new Horizon game, man. It was made, it looks really good on the PS5. I need that PS5. brother, can you help me out? Can you open your hand wide to me? No, it doesn't mean that. It means wanteth means like lacking, whatever he lacks. He said, hey man, like, I need to pay rent this month. I'm out of my job right now. You know, uh, if I don't get rent, they're gonna evict me. That kind of thing. He needs that roof over his head. Okay, so if you're in that position to help out, you're supposed to open your hand wide. Okay, so and give him sufficient for his need. Okay, but let's go over this law again. It says, if there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of the gates in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother, but thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need, and that which he wanteth, and that which he lacks. Okay. Beware that there not be a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the seventh year, the year of release is at hand, and thine eyes be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him not, and he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be a sin unto thee. Okay, look. So you can't be like, oh man, like this guy wants a $5,000 loan, and the year of release coming up in 8 months. Man, he ain't gonna be able to pay me back $5,000 in 8 months. Like, you know what I mean? But meanwhile, you're sitting on like a quarter mil, you know? Like, what, what difference is it going to make at that point? And besides, do you have the faith or not that Yahweh is going to bless you anyway? Because you gave this guy, knowing that the year of release is there, you say, you know what? Yahweh's been this good to me so far. He's going to be better to me in the future. Why? Because this is the heart of the law. Because this is the spirit of the law, to be able to help out your brother, knowing that Yahweh sees these things and he's going to reward you for it. For doing what? For doing the law. He's going to bless you for doing the law and operating in that spirit of the law, rather than the spirit of, oh, I got to hold on to everything I got because, you know, I don't know if I'm going to get any more, that's you're not relying on Yahweh at that point. At that point, you're taking on the wisdom of man rather than the wisdom of God, because the wisdom of God will tell you, hey, keep Yahweh first and everything will be added unto you. So keep your mind on Yahweh. Keep your eye on Yahweh. Keep your heart on Yahweh. And recognize that this law is the word of Yahweh. This law is the truth, and it's eternal. And it can bless you for eternity. So follow after it. And Yahweh will bless you, right? Okay, and yeah, so if you do have it, right, you do have this, this $5,000, right, or whatever, this hypothetical $5,000, right, sitting on a quarter mil, and you decide, okay, no, 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 it's 8 months until the year of release. I'm not going to do it, you know. And look, and it says, and thou givest him not, and he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be sin unto thee. So look, if you don't make that loan, and this guy cries out to Yahweh, bro, you're toast. Because Yahweh is going to look at that and he's going to say, hey, you know what? Look at what I've done for you already. You know, look at how I've been with you, right? Because Yahweh operates off the law. You have your part to do, right? You got to choose whether or not you're going to do it. You got to choose whether or not you're going to do the law. But guess what? If you do that law, then Yahweh is going to bless you. Why? Because he's the other part of that balance. You do your part, he does his part, right? The only thing in question here is, are you going to do your part? Because we don't question Yahweh whether or not he's going to do it. We know he's going to do it, because he is faithful. Praise Yahweh. He's faithful to do his part. So what happens then if he blessed you up to this point, right? He blessed you up to this point doing his part. And then now when it comes time for you to do your part, to operate by the law, to give your brother, your poor brother, his loan, for you to open up your hand wide onto him, and you don't do your part, what's going to happen? Okay, well, we could take a look at what happens. Let's go to Matthew. It says Matthew 18:23. We'll start here. It says, "Therefore the kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who wanted to settle accounts with his servant. And when he had begun to settle accounts, one brought to him who owed him 10,000 talents." Okay, that's a lot. Okay, the 10,000 talents. That's a lot of money. "But as he was not able to pay, his master commanded that he be sold." Okay, with his wife and his children and all that he had, and that payment be made. Wow. Okay, you're gonna sell you and your family into slavery to cover your debt. "The servant therefore fell down before him, saying, 'Master, have patience with me, and I will pay you all.' Then the master of that servant was moved with compassion, released him, and forgave him his debt. But the servant went out and found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii." Okay, not even a, a, a little piece of what he owed to his master, right? "And he laid his hands on him, and he took him by the throat and said, 'Pay me what you owe.' So his fellow servant fell down at his feet and begged him, saying, 'Have patience with me, and I'll pay you all.' And he would not, but went and threw him into prison till he should pay the debt. So when his fellow servants saw what had been done, they were very grieved, and came and told their master all that had been done. Then his master, after he called him, said to him, 'You wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you begged me. Should you not also have compassion on your fellow servant, just as I have pity on you?' And his master was very angry, or his master was angry, and delivered him to the torturers until he should pay all that was due to him." Whoa. All right, so now instead of selling him and his family into slavery, now his punishment's even worse. Why? Because of his hypocrisy. God doesn't like hypocrites, right? And this is why we need to have empathy as a people. This is why we can't outright condemn people. This is why we have to try to put ourselves in other people's shoes, right? Because we could say, hey, I was in that similar situation. Look what Yahweh did for me. Yahweh had mercy on me, right? Even when I didn't deserve it. Shouldn't I have mercy on somebody else? Shouldn't I give this person a chance because Yahweh gave me another chance? Yahweh didn't condemn me. Right? Shouldn't we be merciful with other people? It says, "So my heavenly Father will also do to you if each of you from his heart does not forgive his brother's trespass." Okay, so trespass here, if we look that up, you could see it's already compared to debt. Okay. All right, I was thinking maybe this might have stemmed from the word debt, but it doesn't. But yet the it doesn't matter because the story is about a debt, right? So this debt and let's see, where is it? So debt and trespass here. Debt is a metaphor for trespass. So if we go back here to Deuteronomy, we could see here that this could be a trespass, right, to you if you don't do what is right in the eyes, in the sight of Yahweh, which is to open your hand wide to your brother who's in need. Okay? It says, thou shalt surely give him, and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him, because that for this thing the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works and in all that thou puttest thy hand to do. So, right. So when you give to somebody, and this is anybody, right? You don't give reluctantly and be like, Scrooge McDuck or, whoever, giving to somebody and kind of muttering under your breath, like, take it, man. Like, I can't believe it. Yahweh's making me do this. Here you go. Like, no, 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 no. You give to that person and you tell them, hey, Yahweh bless you, man. You know, and inside of your heart that you're operating to the law, and that's its own blessing because the law is the truth, and you're doing what Yahweh commanded. He didn't ask you, he didn't request from you. He commanded you to do these things. So you're going to listen or you're not going to listen. So when you give with the good heart, according to this word. All right. It says, because that for this thing the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works and in all that thou puttest thine hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to the needy in thy land. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man or Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. Okay, so you could see here, this is talking about Israelite servitude to another Israelite. All right, and it says sold to thee, but this is just for a time period. So it'd be more like, I don't want to say a rental because that implies like an inanimate object, but paid for services for like a contract, for a certain amount of time. Okay, and this is obviously, it says, and if thy brother, an Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee for 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. Right. So you can see here, you have a picture of a maid, maybe cleaning up in your house, right? Doing this type of thing, or you have, uh, you know, uh, um, an Israelite man, shearing your sheep, doing something like this. Okay. It says you got to let him go in that 7th year. Okay. And you're not just supposed to say, okay, cool, man, time's up. You can go ahead and get out of here. That's not how it works. It says, when thou sendest out from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Okay. So even though the contract's done, he's fulfilled, this guy paid his debt to you. What's it say next? It says, thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock. Okay, so let's look up this word liberally. What's it mean? To serve as a necklace, adorned with a neck ornament. Serve necklace. Primitive roof, properly to choke, use as to collar. It says as denominative to collar, adorned with necklace, figuratively, to fit out with supplies. Okay. To furnish, right? Compass about as a chain. Okay, so you're supposed to outfit this person who served you for 6 years. Okay, they gave 6 years of their life, right, to serve you. In that 7th year, you let this person go and you give them out of your flock liberally. Okay, so they can be well and have a good start when they're getting themselves established. Okay, help them to get established as they have helped to maintain you. Okay, all right. It says, "Liberally out of thy flock, because wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee." And again, it's saying, look, all this stuff that you got came from Yahweh anyway. Okay, so you could never get it in your head to be like, hey, you know, I did this by the sweat of my brow. And this is, remember that Yahweh is always the one who permits you to be successful or not. Okay? So just remember that all things on this earth belong to him, right? So as he has given to you, you got to give to others as well. Okay? It says, um, and out of thy winepress, wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee. Therefore I command you this thing today. And it shall be, hold on, let me read this part again real quick. It says, thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy floor, and out of thy winepress of that wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. So as Yahweh has blessed thee, uh, bless this man who has served you, this woman, this Israelite that has served you these 6 years, and you're letting him go in the seventh. As Yahweh has blessed thee, bless him, bless them. And thou shalt remember that thou was a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed me. Therefore I command you this thing to get today. In other words, remember that Yahweh took you out of bondage. He took you out of servitude. That you should also take those who serve you out of servitude as well. And Yahweh just didn't take you out of servitude. He also blessed you, right? He did a lot for you. You're not going to be able to do for those who served you, right? Because he's Yahweh and you're not, right? He crushed all your enemies beneath your feet. He crushed the Egyptian army. He terrified the land of Egypt. He sent the plagues. Uh, he killed the firstborn of all that didn't have the blood on the door. Uh, he opened up the Red Sea. You know, he separated the armies of Pharaoh and Israel with darkness, which must have been a terrifying sight. Can you imagine? So all these things in all these ways Yahweh had blessed you. The least you could do is that which you're able to do, and that is to obey the law and to take your fellow Israelite out of servitude. Okay. All right. And then maybe you might be saying, well, what do you mean servitude? Like, I don't got anybody who's a slave to me. This is where, okay, we're not talking about slaves, right? Because slaves, I think that you have like the word slave has a permanence attached to it, like property. Okay. This is not talking about that. This is talking about a contractual obligation where, an Israelite serves another Israelite for 6 years. So, as the examples I've given before, it could be a maid, right, for a woman. It could be, somebody who does yard work, or work around the farm, or plumbing, or anything like that. Anything, work around the house type of thing. Okay, so when you're reading these laws or going through these laws, you can keep that in mind. All right. It says, and it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee and thine house, because he is well with thee, then thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever. And also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do likewise. Okay, so this is a rule of law for men and women, right? Who, in this hypothetical situation, would be serving you, and they say, hey, you know what? man, I see God is with you. I see Yahweh blessed you, and you operate by the laws of Yahweh. You're fair, you know, you do what is right in the sight of Yahweh. Therefore, I love it here, man. Like it's well with me here. I don't want to go anywhere with you, away from you. Like I want to be, close to you. I want to be close to the blessing of Yahweh, right? So then it gives the law of what's supposed to happen here. Okay, it says, "Thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever. And also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do likewise." Okay, so it says here, this is pretty interesting. Thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door. All right. So if we go here, let's go to the letter. Say, I am the door. Oh, put that little extra bracket in there. Okay, it says, I am the door. This is Yahweh talking. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and he shall go in and out and find pasture. So it says here, it says, then thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door, right? And he shall be thy servant forever. It's pretty interesting here too that the whole similitude that's used here. It says take an awl, just imagining like something that would like a decoration for the ear to be thrust through the ear unto the door. Now you see that Yahweh calls himself the door, that if any man enters by him, right, then he shall be saved and he's going to find pasture. But then you also see too that the ear plays a big part as well, because his ear is going to be decorated. Why? Because he listened to the law. He listened to Yahweh. Therefore, he's being honored in the doorway, right? And who's the door? Yahweh, and he's being beautified. He's being commended because he listened to the law. That's a spiritual way you could look at it. Okay, and it says here, and he shall be thy servant forever, and also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do, right? Okay, and we know that's going to happen, right? We know that's going to happen in Psalms. It talks about this. See, hold thy beauty. All right, it says here, um, beauty. I think it's beauty of the Lord. Okay. Yeah, here it is. Psalm 27, verse 4. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. He's going to be the servant of Yahweh forever, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. Boom, there it is. That I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. So it's the same thing here. You can see the comparison between the law, right, and between David, that desire for the law. And there's a lot of comparisons to be made here. Okay. It says, then I shall take an altar. Right. Okay. And moving on to verse 18. It shall not seem hard unto thee when thou sendest him away from thee, for he hath been worth a double hired servant to thee, in serving thee 6 years, and the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all that thou doest. Okay, so you can't be sending this guy away with doubt in your heart, thinking, man, this guy helped me out so much. He was shearing my sheep, with something went wrong, you know, with the sink, he's able to fix it. He fixed, the porch. I mean, this guy was just great all around. He did the yard work, he did everything, and he did it perfect. So you can't have doubt and say, "No, what am I going to do now? Now what am I? Where am I going to find another guy like this? He was perfect." You can't be like that, right? Because Yahweh put him as your servant for these 6 years. You can't doubt Yahweh and saying, "Oh my God," and leave Yahweh out of the picture and be like, "Oh, now what am I going to do?" You can't be like that. You send him away and you say, "Now I know Yahweh is going to bless me because I've completed the law here. I have fulfilled the law in what Yahweh required me to do, and I know he's blessing me, and this is what's happening." Right? And he says, "And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all that thou doest. All the firstling males that come of thy herd and of thy flock thou shalt sanctify unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work with the firstling of thy bullock, nor shear the firstling of thy sheep. Thou shalt eat it before the Lord thy God year by year in the place which the Lord shall choose, thou and thy household." Okay, so this is talking about the livestock that you have, right? Those firstborn males that come of your herd. So this would be like a firstborn calf, or this would be like a firstborn kid of the goats, this type of thing. Okay, you're not supposed to do any work with them. Okay, they're not supposed to be pulling a plow. You're not supposed to be shearing your sheep, right? Of the firstborn males only. Okay, but it says, "Thou shalt eat it before the Lord thy God year by year in the place which the Lord shall choose, thou and thy household." Okay, so this is talking about bringing that particular animal to the place which Yahweh will choose. And in the early days, it was Shiloh, right? Which would have been in Ephraim, in the land of Ephraim, in the northern kingdom. Later on, it was moved because of some wickedness that was happening over there. It was removed into Jerusalem, right? And that was to the southern kingdom, right? It says, "Thou shalt eat it before the Lord thy God year by year in the place which the Lord shall choose, thou and thy household." Okay, and it says, "If there be any blemishes therein, as if it be lame or blind or have any ill blemishes, thou shalt not sacrifice it unto the Lord thy God." Okay, anything wrong with it, uh you don't give your garbage to Yahweh, because that's a slap in the face after the way that he's blessed you and enriched you and given to you everything that you have. You're supposed to give him the best, and you're not supposed to throw your trash at him. All right, that's disrespect. Okay, treat him with the reverence due unto the creator of heaven and earth. You look outside and you see how beautiful the sky is, and the stars and the sun and the moon, and you see all these beautiful trees and plants that Yahweh has given you for food, and these rivers and these streams of waters, and all these beautiful things in nature, and all these things that Yahweh has given unto you, right? Or that which you have, your family, the roof over your head, the clothes on your back, right? That after he's given you all this, you don't disrespect him by giving him your trash, but you give him the best as due unto the creator of heaven and earth, as much as you can, because all things are his anyway. But you give him the best to show him respect. Okay, and it says, "And if there be any blemish therein, as if it be lame or blind or have any ill blemish, thou shalt not sacrifice it unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt eat it within thy gates, The unclean and the clean person shall eat it alike, as the roebuck and as the hart. Okay, so of the deer family. Only thou shalt not eat the blood thereof. Thou shalt pour it upon the ground as water. All right. Okay. That is the end of this particular study. We'll be moving on to Deuteronomy 16 in the next one. But let me just get this last line that I like to quote. It says, Psalms 29:2, give unto the Lord the glory due unto his name. Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Peace be unto you.